Hello, viewers. It's Elena Rahrig from ElenaRahrig.com here with
Cami Baker of CamiBaker.com. How are you today, Elena?
I'm doing fabulous, fierce, and on fire. I almost missed it.
You almost missed it. Guys, Cami Baker is fabulous, fierce, and on fire.
I love it. I'm going to have to practice that going up at the end. So I want to tell everybody that I now have, I suppose it would be called a radio station. I'm not sure. I don't think it's really called that, but it's where you can listen to all of our audios. And so I'm taking these videos and transferring them to audio. So if you go to yourlisten.com /Elena Rahrig, ElenaRahrig, you now have access to all of our videos on audio, plus more. I'm going to keep loading more and more. And also, I put on there my 29 lessons on how to write and publish your masterpiece, your book. So, yeah, it's going to be great content on there. So last week, we left off with talking about, let's first talk about this, Cami. Last week, you made the statement, when you pay attention. Talk to us about that.
Well, isn't it interesting how the people that we know in our life that have the most advice for us are usually the people that have the least amount of information? Example that I always use that everyone relates to, that I certainly relate to. Isn't it true that our brokest friend who's living paycheck to paycheck, if they even make a paycheck, is the one that is giving us advice on finances and how we should run our business and how we can make money? But they don't have any advice on actually how to do that, and they don't have any evidence of how they've actually done it. So when we're out looking for advice, we should actually be looking more for counsel, like who's been there, who's done that, who's already written the roadmap. And so when we pay someone, when we invest, we also are invested in hearing what they have to say. So when we pay attention. I'll give you a couple of examples. The first one that I said yesterday was my gym. $10 a month, people normally pay. $10 a month is easy. Forget it. Maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. I joined a personal training place for $3,500 a year. I paid, so I paid attention. And not only did I go and work out, but they also taught me about nutrition. And so when I went to sit down and eat that big bowl of mashed potatoes that had 80 grams of carbs in it, I thought, you know what, there's no way that I'm going to go work out at 7 o'clock in the morning and come back and eat these potatoes. I'm paying for that. I'm going to get my money's worth. And so because I paid attention, now it's become natural for me. Now I just understand nutrition. Now I enjoy going to the gym. My other example is I had a mentor last year that I invested $25,000 with for a 6-month contract. And there was a couple of reasons why I did that. I knew that when I had invested that in me, not paid her, understand the difference. When people say, what's it going to cost me? The mindset, what's it going to cost me, is exactly what's costing you.
Absolutely.
The mindset, what's it going to cost me? And so when I invested in myself, because I had belief in myself that I would do this program, when I invested that much money, I knew I would pay attention. $1,000 a week for a phone call, I was on time. I had done my assignment. I was clear. There were no kids or dogs around me barking and screaming. I was in it to win it. And because of that, I really absorbed that information and totally transformed who I am today, because I really submerged myself in that information. And the other reason why I was willing to invest that in myself was because I knew that I was stepping into a new genre. I've been a coach for many years. I've been a trainer. I've been on stage since I was 18. For 30 years, I've been on a stage in one facet or another. However, this is different, getting into the online, getting into the digital, getting into a different form of coaching. So I knew that if I wanted to live in my integrity, because I was going to live in my integrity, my authenticity, there was no way that I could invite someone to invest in themselves if I hadn't done it myself. There's a big difference in being a tour guide and a travel agent. A travel agent sits in the desk and says, oh, this is a beautiful place. I think you should go here. I've heard that this is lovely. Maybe you should go there. I'll give you some pamphlets for restaurants. That's a travel agent. They tell you where they've heard might be a nice place to go. A tour guide has already been there and done that. They grab you by the hand and they say, hey, all right, when we get to the island, we're going to take the back roads. It's beautiful. You're going to meet all the island people. You're going to be able to eat at the best restaurants. Now, I know where the potholes are in the road, so I'm going to tell you when to swerve so that you save yourself of hitting that pothole. And so when we talk about coaching and mentoring and paying to pay attention, pay someone, invest with someone that is a tour guide. They have already been to that place which you were wanting to go, and they can get you there because they've been there. Not because they're sitting in an office reading a brochure to you, but because they've been there, done that, and got the battle scars to prove it.
Yes, I want to talk to entrepreneurs with this. When you pay attention. I coach people on how to be a successful entrepreneur, and a lot of times they're scared to charge. And I went through, I think we all go through it when we say, this is what I have to offer, but yet nobody has bought it from me yet. So we don't see our own value. And so we want to give it away. And yes, we teach to give great content away because that's what makes people want more from you, and then they buy from you. But when I started and getting clients, I was practically giving my services away. If somebody didn't have the money to pay me, the sensitive heart and the desire to help people said, oh, don't worry about it, I'll help you anyways. And become one of my clients and don't worry about the money, I'll still help you. Well, then I found out they're not doing what it takes. I'm babysitting them, I'm begging them to do what I'm teaching them. And if your clients aren't willing to invest, if they're not willing to pay you, do not give it away for free, because you're going to end up hating what you do. Back then I was doing one-on-one coaching, and I would just, anybody, okay, you can't afford my services, I'll still coach you one-on-one. I absolutely hated working with those people, and eventually the entire relationship just fizzled out because I didn't make the first move to call them. They stopped calling me, and it was just like, this is all for nothing, because they had nothing invested in it. So
I have to really speak on that. That is so powerful, because first of all, when we give it away for free, they lose respect for us. They don't take us seriously. They don't see us as the expert because we're just another friend giving them advice. When we really, get this, when we really, really want to serve someone at a high level, there's a difference between saving them and serving them. Trying to save them, trying to serve them, or wanting to serve them. So when we are asking them to invest in themselves, we are actually giving them the opportunity inside to say, I am worth it, I have value, I believe in myself enough that I am going to invest to get this information. And because they've done that, they pay attention. So all those beautiful pearls of wisdom that you have, and whatever it is, health, wellness, relationships, networking, whatever that is, when you are giving it away for free, they're not hearing you. They're not getting the information. You are robbing them of the opportunity to actually take notes and say, wow, that's good, I'm going to apply that. That's really, really huge.
It is. And, right now my services are $5,000, which is nothing. I mean, a lot of people tell me I should be charging $10,000. And you know what? Maybe someday I will. But I think $5,000 is fair for now. But I will have people who they can't afford the $5,000. Well, you know what? I've hired coaches for $5,000, $10,000. And at the time I hired them, I couldn't afford them either. But again, I had to invest in myself. And when you're willing to say, I really need this is going to help me get to my next level, you will find that $5,000. And again, just like you said, if you can't invest $5,000 on yourself, why the hell do you think that I should invest my time away from my family and what I want to do to help you for free? Like, why should I invest in you if you can't invest in you? That is absolutely ridiculous.
No doubt about it. And how do people get sold out on the broken school system? I'm going to say it. The school system is broken. How do we get sold out on spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this education based on what other people think you should know? And then you get this piece of paper and you get out in the marketplace and you can't even get a job affiliated with that, and you end up bartending or waitressing or working at Walmart anyway. Listen, I've been there, done that. I've worked at all those places. And You know, we spend tens or hundreds of thousands putting our children in school. You know, as Jim Rohn, God rest his soul, Jim Rohn would say, a formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Will make you a fortune. And if you're one of those lovey, huggy, touchy, feely people who just wants to save the world and give it away for free, that's all well and good. But think about this. When you have income, you will have more influence and impact because of the things that you can do and the freedom that you'll have and the people that you'll be able to get in front of. So really, if you're a lovey, touchy, huggy, feely person and you just want to save everybody, then you better get paid, because you are limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself to a handful of people that you can reach out and try to save, as opposed to the masses that you could actually affect by being able to serve at a much higher level.
Girl, you got me on fire. This brings out so much passion and anger in me. I'm not going to say anger. I'm going to call it passion. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that can get me really, really fired up. So first off, let's talk about briefly the school system. You know, as most of people know by now, if you've been following me, you know, my dad paid me to read books at a young age. I dropped out of high school. Not because I was a troubled kid or anything. I came from a wealthy family, all entrepreneurs. My aunt and uncles are entrepreneurs. And we realized, you know, thank God my parents realized that, and I'm not, okay, this could come out really bad. I'm not recommending anybody drop out of school. But our mentality behind it was, who cares? You don't need that stuff. You don't need it. You don't need a diploma. Go get your GED and let's go do business. And so my parents put me on this fast track to entrepreneurship instead of following what I call is the scripted life. You know, the government has laid out your life for you. What's going to happen is you're either going to stay at home with mommy as a toddler or you're going into a daycare. From there, you're going into elementary, then middle school and high school. From there, you're going to get a college degree. From there, you're going to work 40 years. They have it laid out for you. At what point do we step back and say, what did God made me, what's my purpose here? What am I created to be? Step out of the scripted life. Stop doing what the world tells you to do. Now, I understand we need some stuff in school, but when my kid I told you to get me fired up, but when my kid brings home homework in 3rd grade and I can't help him with it, obviously, I never needed that in all of my 34 years here. Well,
and not only that, but the school system, and I'm gonna twist this over to the positive side. Not only that, but the school system was created a long time ago when we were in factory mode, right? We were in the industrial age. People were being treated to be worker bees, get that job for 30, 40 years, get a gold watch and retire. And we have gone from the industrial age to the information age to now actually the social age. And so not only is the school system broken, but the way that they were teaching people is so wrong. So the thing, my daughter's 17. She is, she's bored with school. She won't do homework. She's in a special type of group that doesn't do homework. And I offered to her to quit school and just come out and start being with me. Because here's the thing, GED or high school diploma is only needed when you're going to get a job for somebody else. When you're an entrepreneur, nobody asks me when I step on the stage, when I get on a video, when I go to do a coaching call, nobody asks me, hey, Cami, did you graduate high school? Nobody asks me to look at my high school diploma. And so for people who are wanting to get a JOB and have to take that path, then you have to follow certain rules. For me personally, I'm a maverick. I'm a nonconformist. I don't follow rules and I forge my own path. Entrepreneurs are people who solve problems for profit.
Yep.
People who solve problems for profit. So if you can help people with a problem, you can solve it, help them get there better, bigger, badder, bolder, faster, then you are an entrepreneur and you should be getting a profit for helping them do that. And you don't need a high school education for that. You need life lessons. You need to get out and live and be a part of what's going on and get self-educated and invest in yourself and pay so that you will pay attention to what's really going on out there, as opposed to, you know, all the things that they are teaching in school that is so antiquated. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, I know kids that get out of school, well, first of all, they don't even write anymore, but they can't balance a checkbook. They can't balance a checkbook. They have no coping life skills. So let's not beat up on the educational system anymore. Let's stay in the positive and what we're here to do, which is inspire, teach, and train, and all that.
I know, and you know what? We're probably going to get some backlash for the whole school thing, but it's two different perspectives, and obviously our target audience are entrepreneurs and people who are not in the scripted life. But it is just something to think about. Are you living someone else's life, or are you living your life? And I grew up in a family where we were at conferences every weekend. You know, we were going all over the nation with Dad, and he was speaking, and his friends were speaking, and we learned so much. And you know what? I can't help my third grader with his homework. I don't know what sound an ostrich makes. Guess what? If I really need to know, I'll YouTube it or Google it, because I always say I'm not going to store information in here that isn't going to get me to where I want to go. You know, I mean, shoot, you and I were talking, and I didn't know where you're in you're in New Hampshire. But I was like, this is how ignorant I am to some things. But okay, so I asked her, I said, so I'm going to go up to New York here in a month. Are you on the way for me to go? And she laughed, and she's like, girl, you need to get a map. And you know what? I do. I have a map, but I get in my car, I put it on, or I do a Google search, because guess what? I don't need to store that in here, because what's stored in here is stuff that is going to fulfill dreams and transform lives. And so that is what I store. I don't store if the common person would think, what an idiot. She doesn't even know where all the states are located. Don't care. Do not.
Well, you know what, you're right, Elena. And I played with you on that. We had a nice laugh about it. But at the end of the day, you know, to have information. I mean, look, I enjoy some history sometimes. I love to read or listen to biographies and autobiographies and learn about other people's travels and what they did to get where they are. But let's be real honest. Who really cares about memorizing dates? Mm-hmm. Dates of when wars happened. And I know people will give us backlash about that. And I dated a guy who was a historian, and oh my God, how boring to just regurgitate. Well, don't you know when the First World War was? Who gives a shit? I'm looking towards the future. I want to know what happened. I want to be, you know, I don't want to be totally ignorant about where we come from as human beings. However, I'm much more visionary and looking towards the future, as opposed to, that's why the windshield is this big and the rearview mirror is that big. Yeah, you do need to look behind you every now and then. However, looking forward is way more productive, way more productive.
Yeah, and you know what? God understands me, and he gave me the perfect mate, because I am life smart, I'm business smart, experience, people smart. You know, I'm very intelligent when it comes to making things happen, moving, shaking. I'm a mover and a shaker, they call me. And actually, a lot of people refer to me as a genius when it comes to business, and I coach people and teach people. But my husband, he is very book smart. He can give you all the facts. He can tell you when the date was, why it was, and he can tell you what sound an ostrich makes probably. You know, he can tell you all this stuff. He can help my kids with homework. And so we have great balance in this house, absolutely great balance. I help him with life, and he helps me when there's a question I need answered that I felt unnecessary to store the information long-term in my brain. So anyways, yeah, total off subject, got onto the school thing. Be very interested to hear what people have to say about this topic. Some are going to love us and some are going to hate us. And so that's the great thing about passion and being who we are and being true to who we are, is if people don't hate you, you're probably not being true to who you are, and you don't stand for anything. So I am glad that I stand for something, and that I am not going to keep all of my opinions to myself in fear that somebody might not like me. But it is always good to hear other people's perspectives and to learn from them. And some, you know, you agree or disagree, but yeah, I'm really excited, and it'll be very interesting.
Well, here's another thing that'll get people going. And frankly, I personally, my people, my tribe, the people who resonate with what I have to say and what I'm building and creating are visionary entrepreneurs. Visionary entrepreneurs hear what I'm saying and they understand it. Other people who have comments about it are simply not my people. And as my mentor, who is a medicine woman, says, go ahead and sprinkle some skunk medicine on there, because you want to repel the people who don't hear you anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll just sprinkle a little more skunk medicine on that. You just said, you know, you can go to your husband and he can tell you some things that you don't necessarily need to keep in here. a lot of leaders, Carnegie, I read a book on P.T. Barnum, people who are leaders and put things together. Carnegie didn't know anything about the iron industry. He knew how to put people together who did. And that's how he made his empire. P.T. Barnum, this may not be the best analogy, but I like it. P.T. Barnum wasn't a freak. He just knew how to put the freaks together and make a show out of it to make money. So he was an entrepreneur who saw a problem for people and a profit. People needed entertainment. They needed to get out of their heads and be entertained for a couple hours. The problem was people needed entertainment. He knew that when he put entertainment together, he could sell it to people for a profit. He's a born entrepreneur. He wasn't the freak. He knew how to put the freaks together. I'm not a freak. I know how to put the freaks together. Now, you can say that's whatever you want to say about that. I'm not saying that people are freaks. I'm saying that, look, I'm ignorant. I am ignorant about how to do a website. I don't understand code. I don't know all the words to put in the funnels and how many emails you need and how to put together PowerPoints and all that crap. I don't know. But like you said, Elena, I don't need it in here. What I know I'm good at, staying in our genius zone is really important. Stay in your genius zone. My genius zone is speaking, training, and networking. Speaking, training, and networking, and that's all kind of rolled in the same thing. That could be me writing a book. That could be me on stage. That could be me with you right now. This is my genius zone, and to try to figure out all that other stuff not only is it frustrating. You know, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it just frustrates the pig. I don't know how to do that stuff, and I don't want to know how to do that stuff. So I put the freaks around me to make the circus work.
Yes, and you know what? We're hitting 20 minutes again. So here's the facts. This is actually a fact. You don't have to like it. You can hate it. You can roll your eyes, whatever. But the fact is A and B students work for C, D, and F students, and even high school dropouts. So you can study the books, or you can you can study the curriculum books and learn facts on when everything happened and what sound an ostrich makes and know all your maps and all their capitals. Or you can get out of those kind of books, come into books that are going to teach you about life, business, and spirituality, and learn from life experience. Get out there and meet people. Your biggest lessons are going to come when you're interacting with other people. And be teachable and, you know, get out of that scripted life. So let's leave on this one powerful statement that you said at the beginning of this call, Cami, is about money. Some people, well, I just want to give it, we've talked about giving it all away, giving all the business away, and not bringing money, which brought me to another great point, and we really got to wrap it up. But people are scared of money, and some people will say, well, you're all about money. Okay, well, they don't say that about me because I don't talk about money a lot, but yes, I love a profit, and a lot of entrepreneurs, we do love a profit. So all I have to say for people who shame other people for wanting to make money or are afraid to admit that they too want to make money, at the end of 10 years, let's see who can feed the most starving people with the money, with the profit that you make. So that is why I want to make money. It is why I charge $5,000, not just why. Why is because they have to invest in themselves, so they actually take themselves serious. But absolutely, I want a profit. I want a huge profit. And for a long time, I've let people try to shame me for wanting a huge profit. But, you know, I don't live that way anymore because there are mouths to feed. There are children that need homes. There are animals that need rescued. There's people who need medical bills paid. There's people who need their house payments paid. And I will tell you that I have walked into a bank and paid somebody's house so that they didn't lose their house. And so these are things that money provides. It changes the world. It changes lives. So
well, money is also considered currency. And when you think about it, currency is current. So money is just an exchange of energy. It's just a flow. It's just a flow of energy exchange. And there was a book that I read. I love this book. I'll leave you with this. T. Harv Eker has a book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And, you know, you can hear something a gazillion times, but sometimes it just sits really well with you. And I was reading this book on a plane, and it said, one of the chapters said that someone with a poor mentality thinks in either ors. If I had my choice of being a good person or a rich person, I would choose to be a good person. That is a mentality that a lot of us were raised with, the either or mentality. He said a rich person, and you can look at poor and rich with money or with spirituality or with family or whatever that means to you, but a rich person thinks in all-inclusive. I don't think from a place of, if I had to choose, I'd be good or rich. I think of, because I do choose, I choose to be rich and good. Hello. And when I read that, I thought, yeah, imagine when you're good and rich, all the good you can do. Being good and poor, you're really limited.
Yep.
When you're rich and have an abundance, you can give and give, like you're just saying. It's beautiful.
Yep, and amen. And, you know, most of the people that have a struggle with accepting money and admitting that they want money is Christians. And I am a Christian, but those are the main people that are going to actually have a problem with that. And the big point of that is Jesus was very wealthy. People see Jesus as this poor man that roamed the world spreading the gospel, and he wasn't. He was very, very wealthy, and we're made in his image, and he wants us to be wealthy and give us all the riches. So okay, let's end on that. Next week, because we didn't get to it today, next week we are going to talk about rob and duplicates. I absolutely love it, and there's a ton of lessons. I know we can go another 20-30 minutes on that topic. So that is what we're going to talk about next week. Remember this week to be fabulous, fierce, and on fire. Cami, why don't you close this out?
Guys, being fabulous, fierce, and on fire means to live to your extreme. It means to get out there. And when people ask you, how are you? Don't say, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm getting by. If fabulous, fierce, and on fire doesn't do it for you, whatever it is, but make it exciting. Make it come from your gut. When I say I am fabulous, I am fierce, and I am freaking on fire, people laugh, they smile, they perk up. Is what you're saying making people laugh and perk up? Or is it making them say, oh, okay, that's what I'll leave you with.
Amen. You either light up a room when you walk in, or you darken it, or you leave it the same. Choose to light it up. All right, you can find us at camibaker.com, CAMIBAKER.com, or ElenaRahrig.com, ELENARAHRIG.com. You can hear this audio at yourlisten.com/Elena Rahrig. Have a fabulous week. See you next week.
Bye.